I spend a lot of time thinking about kids. My own son, of course, but as a school social worker, I spend much of each day thinking about other people's children. The ones who are brought to my attention the most are those who are in crisis or those with behavior problems. You've heard about these kids from your own children, or maybe even on the news. These are the kids who curse at teachers and they fight with other students. They run around the school, maybe they throw chairs. We call these students naughty, troubled, high flyers, disrespectful, out of control, violent. But what if we reframe a bit and we say that these students have maladaptive behaviors? Maladaptive, not as easy to say, but more accurate, perhaps. Often the behaviors that we see are an adaptation developed over time and in response to something. And in the case of children with maladaptive behaviors, often, not always, but often, the frightened become the frightening. Children aren't born swearing and fighting. Babies are helpless. They need to be cared for and loved. But what happens if the people who are supposed to care for the children don't, or they aren't able to? A constant complaint from teachers is that students, particularly black students, are disruptive and disrespectful. They talk too loud, they talk too much, they insult peers and adults. But consider a child who grows up in a home where everyone is boisterous. They're loud, they seem to talk over each other, they tease, they call each other names. That child learns over time what is acceptable in their family. And if that child isn't loud too, they don't get noticed. If they don't interrupt others, they don't get their needs met. That child has adapted to their home, and they bring those same skills with them to school. They aren't negative behaviors, rather they're skills for inclusion and survival in their family. Now, imagine that when a baby cries, they don't know if an adult will pick them up and hold them, or hit them, or ignore them completely. Sometimes they're held and rocked and fed and changed, but not every time. Frequently, no one comes to help. And sometimes the person who comes to help hurts them. And this happens when they're babies, and continues when they're toddlers, and on to preschool. They come to associate adults as untrustworthy and frightening. They learn it is safer for them to be the aggressor, the one who hurts others, rather than let others hurt them. The frightened become the frightening. They have adapted to their environment. Their behaviors keep them safe. They don't know that the behavior isn't needed at school. They don't know how to adapt quickly enough to the new school environment, and so they get in trouble. Another student knows that when they make a mistake at home, they'll be punished. And punishment might include yelling, or maybe they get a whooping. They also know that if someone else in the family gets in trouble, that all the kids within reach will also get a whooping. They learn to get out of the way. They run to another room, maybe even out of the house, until the angry adult is calm and it's safe to return. That same survival skill comes with them to school. And when they do a worksheet and they mess up, they feel scared. Past experience tells them that they could get hurt, and so they run out of that classroom and escape before the teacher can see their mistake. Or maybe the teacher's getting upset with another student, and they know again from past experience that they might get in trouble too, and so they run to keep themselves safe. We would respond differently to these students if we remembered their behavior was based on their successful adaptation to their lived experience. And at schools, we know that we don't have the tools that are working, so we look for the shiny new thing that will solve the problem. We need more equity training. We need more social-emotional curriculum. We need better classroom management methods. We try to innovate our way out of a problem that is really a philosophical problem. Instead of coming up with a shiny new training program or curriculum or methodology, we need to shift the way that we see our students. we need to remember that adaptation is a process. We can help guide that process and help develop positive behaviors, but first, we need to stop and admire each student's adaptation. Let's acknowledge that it's amazing that each student has been able to change and survive and grow. That adaptation is worthy of praise, not punishment. And with the right support, the frightened and the frightening can become anything.